Welcome back students. The topic that we are going to learn today is Fresnel biprism. Fresnel used a biprism to show the interference phenomenon. What it consists of? It consists of two prisms which are joined base to base. Here these are the two prisms and these are joined base to base. But actually in practice this setup we are not going to use. So what we are going to use instead of this is take a thin glass plate and here one side that acts as the base. This side acts as base and these two edges of the thin glass plate, these are polished till a prism is formed. These two edges are polished till a prism is formed with an obtuse angle 179 degree and here other two angles are 30 minutes. So in practice we are going to use this setup, that is a thin glass plate is taken and here one side that acts as the base and other two sides these are polished till a prism is formed with an obtuse angle 179 degree and other two sides are 30 minutes each. So this setup we are going to use in the experiment. So we know that if a single prism is used, when a monochromatic light is allowed to fall on this prism, the light ray is going to refract, it will bend. So this refracted ray, this appears to come from the point S1 here. So here this is S is the position of the source, monochromatic source. When it is passed through the prism, single prism, it is going to refract and this refracted ray, this appears to come from the point S1. So here the point S1 will be what? It will be the coherent image of source S. This is not the real image. This ray appears to come from this point. So now we can call this as coherent source. From this single prism, one coherent source we have got. One single source we have got. This is S1. Instead of one prism, if you are going to use two prisms, means come to this diagram. Here two prisms we are going to use and these are connected base to base. Two bases are connected here. Now when a monochromatic light that is allowed to fall on these two prisms, what happens? Two refracted rays will be there and these two refracted rays, these two appears to come from two different points. The first refracted ray which falls on the first prism, this appears to come from the point S1 and the second refracted ray, this appears to come from the point S2. So now from this setup, how many sources we are going to get? Two sources we are going to get, that is S1 and S2 are what? Virtual images of source S. So now we have got two sources, S1 and S2. We can call these S1 and S2 are what? Coherent sources. These are not real, these are the virtual. That's what we have got from the single source S. So now here S1 and S2 are the coherent sources. And next what the phenomena that it is going to happen after this setup will be what? Interference we are going to get. That is interference, alternate bright and dark fringes on the screen we are going to get. This is what basics regarding this Fresnel's biprism. Once again, in practice we are going to use this setup in glass plate. So here one side acts as the base and other two edges are polished till a prism is formed with an obtuse angle 179 degree. Other two are 30 minutes each. Here these two will be what? Refracting edges and this will be the base. From a single prism we are going to get one virtual image from the source S, but with the help of this setup, if two prisms we are going to use, then we are going to get what? Two coherent sources, S1 and S2. And next, if the sources are coherent, if what the waves are going to come from these sources are going to meet, what we are going to get is what? Interference phenomena we are going to observe. This is what basic things. Next, what is the experimental setup? So how we are going to set up the experiment? So this biprism is there. This setup we are going to mount on an optical bench. There will be an optical bench. What it consists of means two horizontal long rods will be there and these two long rods are at the same level and the height of these two will be same and these two are exactly parallel to each other. Biprism we are going to place on the optical bench. Optical bench that consists of two horizontal long rods, and these two will be at the same height and these are exactly parallel to each other. So now on these horizontal rods we are going to place what? These optical instruments we are going to place. First one, the light from the monochromatic source is allowed to fall on the slit. So we need a narrow beam. So what the light is coming from the source is allowed to fall on the slit. So now slit acts as what? Source, monochromatic source. From that a narrow fine beam we are going to get. That is the first slit we have to place on the optical bench. After that, what the fine beams we are going to get, that is allowed to fall on the biprism. The fine beams, this will be the slit. The fine beams are allowed to fall on this biprism. Look at the position of the prism. How to place the biprism on the optical bench is, these two are refracting edges. These two should face the slit. That is, these two should face the source. And here base should be towards us. Right? So from the source we are going to get wavefronts in all the directions. That is allowed to fall on the biprism. Next to that, what? Here the wavefronts which are going to fall on the upper surface of this prism, they are going to bend downward. These will bend downward. These are the wavefronts which are going to fall on the upper surface of the prism. They bend downward. And the wavefronts which are coming from the source, which are falling on this lower segment of the prism, they will bend upwards. And here what happens? The two refracted rays, these two refracted rays, these two appears to come from the point S1. So now here this will be what? A virtual image of the source. Yes. And these two refracted rays, these two appears to come from the point S2. Here this is also virtual image of source S. So now S1 and S2, these two acts as what? Two coherent sources. So here after refraction, these all waves are going to meet, and here in this portion the waves are going to meet. So here sources what we have got are coherent and the waves are going to meet, means continuous wave we are going to get. That is alternate bright and dark fringes of equal intensity we are going to get on the screen. This is the screen. And this what fringes that we are going to obtain, we are going to observe with the help of what? This is micrometer eyepiece will be there. On that one vernier scale will be there to record the readings. So here fringe pattern we are going to observe with the help of this micrometer eyepiece. Once we get the alternate bright and dark fringes on the eyepiece, so with the help of that we can determine what is the wavelength of monochromatic light that we have used. We can determine wavelength of light emission. If you come to the theory part of this, the theory of this Fresnel biprism is the same as that of what? Young's double slit experiment. So in the Young's double slit experiment in the earlier classes, we have got expression for what? Fringe width is equal to one expression we have got. That is beta is fringe width. What is fringe width? It is the distance between two consecutive bright or dark fringes. So here in this portion, alternate bright and dark fringes we are going to get. Like this, alternate bright and dark fringes we are going to get. So what is the distance between two consecutive? If you consider these are the dark fringes, then the distance between two consecutive dark fringes we are going to call as beta, or else distance between two consecutive bright fringes. So this you can call as fringe width. So expression for the fringe width in the lower classes we have studied while studying Young's double slit experiment. So this is equal to lambda capital D divided by small d. So this is the expression for the fringe width. So from this wavelength of light, if we are interested to calculate, means what? This will be equal to fringe width into small d divided by capital D. In order to find out the wavelength of monochromatic light, so all these things should be known. So practically we can measure what is the fringe width. So here micrometer eyepiece is there, on that scale it is there. So if we are going to focus crosswire onto the fringes, should be there. The refracting edges that should face the slit, and alignment is slit and this biprism, these two should be in line. These two exactly in line should be. So by looking into the biprism, so here slit is there, next biprism is there. If you stand here, if you observe into the biprism, what you can see is, you can see slits, right? So biprism, it is mounted on the optical bench, so we can change the position of the biprism. So adjust the distance of the biprism with respect to the slit such that, so here in the biprism, two lines means slit, clear image of the slit is observed. Up to that distance you have to move this biprism, means this distance you have to adjust. Next is what? Next here micrometer eyepiece will be there. So here we are going to see, with the naked eye we are going to see what? Slit. We can see here in the biprism. Next eyepiece will be there. We have to change the distance between biprism and the micrometer eyepiece such that in the eyepiece fringes, clear image of the fringes are going to see. Up to that we have to change, means change the distance between the biprism and this micrometer eyepiece. So here in the eyepiece you are going to get what? Clear image of alternate bright and dark fringes. Once you get this, we can find out this beta, that is fringe width we can find out. So with this, first we are going to see, that is determination of fringe width. So as I have already told, fringe width is the distance between two consecutive bright or dark fringes. How to determine this beta? So here micrometer eyepiece will be there. We are going to focus on this alternate bright and dark fringes. So in that eyepiece, cross wire will be there. Consider a reference fringe. I am going to consider bright fringe. Focus a cross wire onto any one of the bright fringe. So here focus. This is the cross wire. Focus in this bright fringe. So for this, here one vernier scale will be there. That is reading something. Say x0 is the reading for this bright fringe. The cross wire, focus the cross wire onto any one of the bright fringe. For that, reading is x0 you are going to get. Next, move the cross wire for any number of bright fringes. Let us suppose I am going to move the cross wire for 5 bright fringes. So here move this cross wire till 5 bright fringes are going to pass. Next, after the 5th, focus the cross wire onto the 5th bright fringe. For that, you are going to get x5 reading. This is for the 5th bright fringe. Focus the cross wire for the 5th bright fringe. So for that reading, what you are going to get, that is x5. Here what we have got, x0 is the distance for the first bright fringe, and x5 is the reading for the 5th bright fringe. But fringe width is equal to what? Distance between two consecutive bright fringes. From this, beta is equal to what we can calculate, what we are going to get, that is x0 difference x5 divided by 5. So x0 is for first fringe, x5 is for 5th fringe. If you divide this by 5, you will get distance between two consecutive bright fringes. That is what beta is equal to. So now with the help of micrometer eyepiece, we are going to get the value of this beta. And the next is what? Capital D. As I have already told you, capital D is what? Distance between the source and the screen. With the help of Fresnel scale, directly we are going to measure, and direct reading for the capital D we are going to get. So here beta is known, capital D is known. So next what we have to determine is, that is the determination of small d. The next thing is, that is the determination of small d. As I have already told, small d is what? That is the distance between two coherent sources. So here S1 and S2 are two coherent sources, but here these two sources are virtual. If these two are real, then this setup directly I can place here, and here I should get the image of the slits, so that directly I will get the reading for that what? small d is equal to. But here the two sources S1 and S2 are not real. These are the virtual images. So directly we cannot measure. For that again one more setup it is there. So what it is, that means after the biprism we are going to place a convex lens. Come to this diagram. Here source will be there. All these optical instruments we are going to mount on a optical bench. First slit will be there, that acts as a source. After that biprism will be there. Next what we are going to place is, that is convex lens we are going to place. What this convex lens does, this is going to focus the rays at one point. What the rays are going to come from, appear to come from S1, these all rays are going to focus at one point, and the rays which are appears to come from point S2, they are not going to focus at another point. So here what is going to happen, after the biprism what waves will be there, this convex lens that is going to converge the rays to one point. See here, this is the source, real source. So from this you are going to get the rays, and next S1 and S2, this acts as what, biprism will be there. Because of the biprism here there is creation of two virtual sources S1 and S2. If you place a biprism, that is if you place a convex lens next to the biprism, the rays which appears to come from S1 are going to converge to one point. The rays which appears to come from point S1, they converge to one point. The rays which appears to come from S2, they are going to converge to the another point on the screen. So here what you are going to see, S1 and S2 means slit you are going to see. That is clear image of the slit you are going to see. Let us say the distance between two slits, that is D1 you are going to get. Again eyepiece will be there. If you are going to see the slit means directly with the help of eyepiece you can measure the distance between two slits. That is called that as D1. So now see, the distance between the slit and the convex lens, if you call this as U, and the distance between convex lens and the eyepiece, that acts as the screen, that if you call as V, this is object distance and this is the image distance, right? Here what, if you are going to adjust the position of the convex lens at two positions, you are going to get the clear image of the slit. There are the two positions where you can get the clear image of the slit. At the first position nearer to the biprism, if you change the position of the convex lens closer to the biprism, then at one position there will be the clear image of the slit that you are going to see. That is the first position. For that, according to this diagram, see here this is S1 and this is S2. We know that distance between S1 and S2 is d, small d, and here on the screen enlarged image you are going to see, that is clear image of the slit. Two lines you are going to see. Let us call the distance between these two lines as d1, and this is, if it is the position of the convex lens, this will be object distance and this will be the image distance. So according to this diagram, the definition of magnification is equal to what we can write is, magnification is equal to, this it is there, it is enlarged, this has magnified this much. So magnification is equal to d1 divided by d, we can write. So d1 by d is magnification. But from this geometry what we can write, d1 by d is equal to this distance divided by this distance, that is image distance divided by object distance. So call this as equation 1. What I have got from this geometry, this is position of two coherent sources, and here this is the position of the lens, and here eyepiece is there. You are going to change the position of the convex lens towards the biprism such that in the eyepiece you are going to get the clear image of the slits, and call this as U and call this as V. With the help of vernier which is there on the eyepiece, with the help of that distance d1 you can measure. And now from the geometry, magnification is equal to what we can write, d1 by d is equal to v by u we can write. So this is equation 1. Next, see, I have biprism, where we have got a clear image of the slit, that is the first position. Next again we are going to move the convex lens towards the eyepiece. Again we are going to get the clear image of the slit. So for a convex lens there will be two positions where we are going to get the clear images. This is the second arrangement. So now see, here there is two coherent sources S1 and S2, and here this is the position of the convex lens. This is position of the eyepiece where we are going to get the clear image of the slits. With the help of eyepiece we can measure the distance between the slits, call that as D2. D2 is the reading for the slits where convex lens is towards, is closer to the eyepiece. From the geometry see, from this eyepiece to the convex lens, this distance, obviously this will be equal to the distance u. Means in the first case, so u is what, with the help from the source to the convex lens, this distance is equal to u we have got. But here in this case, from the eyepiece to the convex lens, here this distance exactly will be equal to u. This distance becomes u and this distance becomes v. From this, again if you write the expression for the magnification is equal to, what you are going to get from this diagram, magnification is equal to, this is d2 divided by d will be there. This distance divided by this distance, and that is equal to, from the geometry, this distance divided by this distance is equal to this distance divided by this distance. This is equal to u and this is equal to v. So we can write u divided by v, and you call this as equation 2. Here we are having equation 1 and 2. From 1 and 2 what we are going to get, that is d1 d2 divided by d square is equal to 1 we are going to get, and here d1 d2 is equal to d square will be there. From this d is equal to root of d1 and d2. So now d1 d2 with the help of micrometer eyepiece, already we are having values for these two. If you know the value of d1 and d2, you are going to get the value of this d, that is the distance between two coherent sources which are virtual. So now according to that expression for the wavelength, that is lambda is equal to beta d divided by capital D. Beta fringe width already we have got, and small d is equal to, with the help of this expression we will get the value of small d, capital D. Already with the help of thread and scale we can measure the distance between the source and the micrometer eyepiece. So if all these three things are known, we can determine the wavelength of light used. Thank you.